Hi, my name is David, they, them, and I'm the Internal Communications Officer for Seattle DSA. Today's Skillshare is on creating a petition or letter writing campaign in ActionNetwork. First off, the overview. There's different uses for each. A petition in ActionNetwork allows you to add signatories, but there's a preset script that applies to everyone that is going to whoever the target is, and you can just print it off and deliver it to, say, a boss or a landlord of everyone who is signed on. It expands our database of participants, but it's to deliver at a later date to anyone. It isn't going to automatically send it to you. It isn't going to deliver the petition. You have to do that yourself. And a letter campaign is where it requires a target list. ActionNetwork includes state and federal legislators as well as governors. You can add custom target lists. For example, we can create Seattle City Council and have geocoding for which districts people fall under. And it's more interactive. The letter writing campaigns actually get sent out to the legislator or governor or whoever your custom target list is. And people who are filling out the letter writing campaign customize the text. Whereas petition, it's very much there is a single script and everyone is signing on to it. So they have different uses. It's important to think about more broadly when you would use a petition or a letter writing campaign. It's not always going to be effective. We know that the levers of power in society are such that maybe our legislator isn't the person who is going to cause the change. Maybe it's someone who has a lever on that person. So, for example, in our workplace organizing collective, there was a member, and the member was working at a nonprofit. They had a really problematic, anti-Black, misogynistic manager, a director at this nonprofit. Well, nonprofits have boards that are accountable and make hiring, firing decisions. So a director there was a lever on that director that could be pulled. So in the workplace organizing collective, there were other radicals and labor organizers who were like, hey, even if you don't go for a union right now, you can still pull this lever. You can still take direct action to get what you need at work. And so there was a public pressure campaign on that board of directors who then replaced the director, the executive that was in charge of this nonprofit. And it was a big win. It was a big material win to improve the conditions at their workplace. Their relationship to capital didn't change, but it was a very concrete gain that gives that can inspire even bigger changes and approaching stuff where we can start organizing for structural changes instead of just interpersonal ones. So very important, but a letter writing campaign is not a panacea. It's not going to be one size fits all. So think about where the levers are to actually create the change, not just having a letter writing campaign to someone who may not respond unless, the people who are animating their decisions, who are actually deciding their decisions, do it. So like our legislators, it may be a public pressure campaign to have Seattle City Council divest from fossil fuels and fracking and investing in those with our pension funds. So that's one idea. All right, so actually getting into the grit of how to set up a petition and letter writing campaign in ActionNetwork is. We'll do the letter writing campaign first because that's where you actually have to set up targets. You have a script, or not a script, you have a prompt for people to respond to. You might put, so let's go into there. We're going to do a letter writing campaign. And these are all self-explanatory. You put in a title, you put in your targets, so divest from fossil fuels for Seattle pensions. Okay. Now we have Seattle City Council is loaded in here. We can put that. We can put other custom targets that people have uploaded. We could put our House of Representatives. You could put the state legislators, both the upper chamber, which is our Senate or state Senate, and lower, which is our state House, governors, etc. So you put in the targets, add a banner, you have a description. Now this is where you would put, I find it's more useful and helpful to have bullet points with the major talking points, the key ideas, and letting people just write conversationally and incorporate bullet points or those key talking points or those key data points. I find that's much more, it feels a lot less like the petition is just this mass thing, and it's more personal. You're actually talking to someone. And especially in local politics or a custom list where we're a lot closer to these people, and in theory, they should be more accountable to us. Yeah, it's just, I find it to be more useful. You can put a full-on script of here's the letter. All right. So we're going to just put example bullet points and talking points. All right. You can have the return address for the letters. Now we can go to our next step. Oh, we're going to send this out to governors. We'll just pretend. All right. So you can have a default message. This is where you can actually put in the key talking points, or this is where you'd actually put what you want people to write about, whereas that first page is more so motivating people to actually complete the action. All right, you can put your tips here. You can have a default letter. You can leave it blank if you want people to write on their own. It might be good to have a salutation at the end where it directs them to Seattle DSA, who, you know, the specific committee is taking part in this action. Okay. Go to the next step. And this is the thank you for your support page. You can customize all this. You can edit the sharing options and any sort of follow-on instructions. For example, you might have a meeting later on in the day to go over it, or after the actual letter writing campaign is completed. And that's it. You would hit save and publish. It would save that information, and you would be able to launch it. You can delay when it's available. So let's go into petitions. So this is where there is more of a preset script, and you're going to print it out and you're going to deliver it somehow later. You're not going to do this individually. This is a huge list of people in the community. Some things to think about when you're constructing it is you might put places of employment, or you might put their unions or community organizations that these members are part of. And that can be really effective because it shows that, oh, these aren't just individuals. These are people with connections in their community who actually have a say and a voice in some sort of collective organization or mass line formation. All right. So put in a title. Who are you positioning? You can put in any information you want. So you could say that this is Darigold CEO, who's Paul Ryan's brother. You put in the information here. CEO might not be the best person. It might be a specific group of people that have leverage over that person making a decision. So we put in this information. This will be the petition text that will be delivered to the target. So you would write the letter itself, as opposed to the letter writing campaign where people are customizing it to their liking. This is very concrete. Everyone who is signing on is agreeing to the same text and the same. So this might be something where there might not be a lot of experience or familiarity with the topic. And so you want to have, these are concrete actions that we've negotiated as a group with other groups in the community. And you can add other creators. So it's not just Seattle DSA, maybe it's your particular committee. Maybe it's also in conjunction with another chapter or another organization out in the community. So we hit save and go to next step. And same thing, it's your follow-on text. You could have the information about upcoming meetings or when it's actually going to be delivered and save the date for that, or follow-on forms for those things and edit the share options. So just to recap, we went over an overview of how to create a petition or letter writing campaign on ActionNetwork. We went over different uses for petitions versus letter writing campaigns and what to think about strategically while you're deciding whether or not to use either. How to use them effectively, selecting targets, and start and completion screens for the prompts and considerations of what to fill in for each. So once again, my name is David, they, them. I'm the Internal Communications Officer for Seattle DSA. You can join us each Sunday at 2 p.m. to log work into Trello for all the committees in Seattle DSA. And thank you. Have a great day.